The excitement is palpable here in San Antonio as the 2021 edition of Trinity Tigers women's soccer is set to kick off here momentarily, facing off against the McMurry University Warhawks for the first time, I believe, in either program's history. Get to the visiting lineup quickly before we get underway. Start with number 2, Tegan Hansen. Mariah Sikura. Hallie Rutherford will lead the line, number 5. Ashlyn Pazorski, Casey Durin, Jenna Barreau, Jalen Portillo, Kate Holland, Ashlyn Hansen, Brooke Boyer, and the goalkeeper, Cortland Boone. They're underway as Kira Stafford wins the first header. Trinity going with Stafford alongside Bailey Meyer in the heart of the defense. Looks like Madison Horner dropped back a little bit deeper than perhaps we've seen her in the past to start the game here, as Rutherford has it taken away by Beal and Walsh dribbles clear. McMurry Warhawk tumbles away from the play as Beal brings it into the attack, finds the feet of Ward. Horner is wide open on the overlap here. She can manage to hold her run. She could, but she was beaten to it in the end by Portillo. It's going to be out for a McMurry throw. Walsh picks it up, drops it all the way back for the only newcomer in today's starting lineup, Ashlyn Zingelman, the transfer from the University of North Texas, who's a San Antonio native coming back home after a season which she didn't appear for the Mean Green. Stafford cuts inside Portillo and sends in a ball on her stronger left foot, flicked off the head of Katie Ward. Wide to the goal, and it'll be gathered by Cortland Boone, the sophomore goalkeeper out of Argyle, Texas. Wearing the number 99 shirt. Gonna have plenty to do, you'd expect, as Trinity come into this game ranked number 21 in the nation, having exerted their dominance last season in the SCAC championship tournament, setting an all-time record for tournament goals across the 3 rounds. Zingelman swings the left foot at it, and Beal puts it in behind for the Warhawks to track down. Brooke Boyer does drop it back to the goalkeeper. Trinity going 10-0 last season and ending with a 4-0 success in the final against the University of Dallas off the back of 2 goals from Molly Sheridan, who once again leads the line today. Scored 17 goals in total over that tournament. And they put the horrors of a couple of years ago, losing to Southwestern on penalties, well behind them. And they're looking forward to, at least talking to Coach Harrison this week, looking forward to a full season where they can really stretch out over the period of 18 games and hope to peak come November time. Get to the starting lineup here for Trinity. Joey Finley is in goal, preferred to Lauren Bolish for today's opener. Looks like the back 3 of Ashlyn Zingelman, Bailey Meyer, and Kira Stafford. On the outside, Madison Horner on the right, Elena Wickham on the left. A familiar midfield trio of Cece Hendricks, Cameron Beal, and Alex Walsh, all in their senior season, as well as Katie Ward and Molly Sheridan in the attack. This one put in behind for Bailey Meyer to track down. She's going to be put under pressure by Casey Duran, but she sees it over the line for a goal kick. First touch coming for Joey Finley, the sophomore out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Kira Stafford, who will play just ahead of her in the back line, also out of Albuquerque. It's been a couple of successful recruiting trips for Coach Harrison and Coach Valdespino up to Albuquerque. Whistle goes against Trinity in the center circle. Including Zingelman, the transfer, it is 11 new faces for Trinity this year to add to a very strong senior class. Includes Madison Horner, Katie Ward, and the midfield trio I mentioned earlier. Here is Ward on the ball. Looking for Walsh. Just crowded off of it. And McMurry play it wide. Pazorski tracks it down, and Zingelman puts it out for a throw. Trinity playing without their head coach today in the opener, as Coach Harrison watching from home in COVID protocol. So Coach Valdespino is at the helm, I believe for the first time for her today. Got a big cheer from the team when it was announced Spencer Valdespino as the head coach prior to the game. A lot of really positive energy coming out of Trinity women's soccer at the moment. They've got pretty much every reason to be excited for this year, including a huge matchup on Sunday with Hardin Simmons. Of course, they won't look past McMurry today, but they've got a chance to open the scoring already as Molly Sheridan breaks into the McMurry half. Katie Ward up alongside her. It's 2v3 at the moment. Katie Ward might like those odds as the bodies come streaming back. Ward onto her left foot. Looks for a ball towards the back post, intended for Cameron Beal. Cut out. Kept alive by Walsh. Wickham gets there first and puts it out for a throw. That one goes out for a throw ahead of some traveling McMurry fans. Of course, tough to tell. Both schools' primary color being maroon. Making the interstate journey here to San Antonio for their team's opening game. Tough last season for the Warhawks, finishing 2-5-1, 2-2-1 in conference play. The year before that was a historic success. And the first time they reached the ASC tournament was in 2018, and they got their first win in 2019, defeating Laterno in the opening round of the ASC tournament. It's a program which has had some real lows throughout its history. They've had 3 straight seasons with no wins, but ever since Coach Nobles took over, they've certainly been on the up, and I think that's what Coach Harrison saw when he wanted to schedule the Warhawks to open the campaign this year. I talked to him about that. He said, we know they're going to be disciplined, organized. Everyone that's seen them recently has had praise for what Coach Nobles has done. Chance now for Sheridan, maybe the first shot of the game for the striker, but she's crowded off it, and the eventual effort well off target. The Warhawks, last full season, they secured 12 victories. And that first postseason when I mentioned, Coach Nobles was named ASC Coach of the Year. Where that usually goes to whoever's at the helm for Hardin Simmons. He was so impressive, leading a team that hasn't traditionally been competitive. Ever since he took over, he's definitely changed that. Wickham looking for the crossfield switch. Horner had plenty of space on the near side. Didn't have enough on it to reach the Austin, Texas native. And Meyer will drop it back to Finley. Simple giveaway there to the feet of Mariah Sakura. Horner got a foot on it, but that's only helped it on its way. Meyer comes across and puts it out for a throw. Sakura lays it back to the teammate. Gets a cross away. Defended by Zingelman. Loose ball secured by Wickham. Got a couple defenders on her back, and Cameron Beal will clean it up. Stafford allowed some time and space to come forward into midfield. Puts it in behind for Sheridan. Goalkeeper coming. And Cortland Boone deals with it, sending it long as far as Ashlyn Zingelman. Wickham will work to keep this one in play on the far side, and she's able to do so. Comes onto her favored right foot, finds Katie Ward in the box. Cut back to the edge of the area for Sheridan, who shields the ball and finds Madison Horner. Coming in field, Madison Horner on the left foot. Has her shot blocked. Trinity keep possession, keep the pressure on. Stafford with an errant pass. Portillo can't keep it in play. Stafford finds a throw onto the feet of Katie Ward. And a no-nonsense clearance there from Mort. Nearly takes my head off. Rutherford now isolated 1v1 with Meyer. Looks to get to the corner. Meyer, strong as ever in the back. Not the player you want to go 1v1 against if you're the attacking player in that equation. Hallie Rutherford, the leader in the attack for the Warhawks. Spent a couple seasons in the SCAC. She'll be familiar with playing against Trinity. She played for Southwestern for a couple of seasons. Scored 11 and assisted 9 in 35 appearances for the Pirates. And in the one COVID-shortened year, she was third-team All-ASC for the Warhawks with a team best 3 goals and 1 assist. Came off her head, but it was tracked down by Stafford. Hendricks given plenty of time to turn, try and find a pass, but couldn't find Wickham. They eventually do work it wide to Elena Wickham. She brings it over the halfway line and sends it into the channel for Ward. Burrow able to turn and send it down the field, but it runs out of play for a throw. Walsh comes short, receives the throw in. It's for a ball curving in behind. It's deflected to Hendricks. Wide again for Walsh. Walsh past one defender, past another with ease, put across for Sheridan, and there's the opening goal. The magic from Alex Walsh, the finish from Molly Sheridan, and Trinity is on the board here for the first time in 2021.
Goal for the Tigers by number 22, Molly Sheridan. 50 assists, number 12, Alex Walsh.
McMurry looking to make a change immediately after the goal goes in with Emily Holland onto the field. It's Pazorski who comes off. Trinity's central striker Molly Sheridan is off the mark here. She scored 11 goals in 10 games and was, of course, named first team All-SCAC for those type of numbers. McMurray looking to immediately go the other way. Rutherford in the area, but Joey Finley assured and coming up to pick the ball. If it wasn't for Katie Ward with 13 goals and 4 assists in 9 games, I think Molly Sheridan would probably be the offensive MVP of the conference. Those two, such a good duo, and I asked Coach Harrison about those two and the partnership that they've struck up, and he said, yes, they are terrific players, no doubt. And I even mentioned to him maybe in the like of a Chelsea Cole and the Hallian Duray partnership we've seen in the past. Here is Katie Ward in behind, battling, getting to it. Katie Ward on the left foot, rolls that shot right at the keeper. Coach Harrison certainly acknowledged that comparison, but he said, we've actually got goals that can come from anywhere. Having 2 goal scorers is always a plus. But you look at the likes of Cameron Beal, who led the team in scoring in 2019. It's not as easy as shutting down 2 players, if even that was easy for the opposition. I don't think any opposition would consider that easy. Strong impression for the substitute Holland, who beats the defender and puts it in behind for Rutherford. But Finley's well positioned. Stafford makes the interception. Runs the ball out wide for Wickham. Walsh flicks it over the head of a defender. Looks to spray the play wide for Horner. Just overhit. Holland puts it forward. Just out of the reach of Hendricks. Rutherford puts it in behind. Chance now for Holland, the substitute. It's forced wide. It was a terrific weight on the pass from Rutherford. Mentioned she's certainly the leader in attack, the senior striker. Nearly created an opportunity for a teammate there. Good early signs for Emily Holland, number 12, first year out of Mansfield, Texas. Looks like probably a sister to Kate Holland, who's at the back. The senior from Mansfield, as Joey Finley comes and claims off the throw-in. Stafford, good ball into midfield for Hendricks, who's able to turn, find space wide for Wickham. The energy coming from the Trinity bench. It's put in behind for Ward. Picked off on its way to the Arizona native. Ward turns past one, but the ball ran over the line. And another change for the Warhawks is Michaela Pearson enters for Jalen Portillo.
Entering the game for McMurray, number 7, Michaela Pearson.
Wickham winning the physical battle, turns away from the pressure and gets it back from Walsh. Pass just overhit. "17 minutes gone. The breakthrough goal coming from Molly Sheridan, created by Alex Walsh, who got the assist. That one sent forward to Sheridan. She's beaten to it by Boyer. Meyer with the forward pass, looking for Walsh. Just a scramble at the moment in the midfield, as Engelman comes across to deal with it and wins the throw. Throw looking for Sheridan, headed back towards the Tiger goal. Engelman again down the field, again repelled by the Warhawks, but Walsh makes a nuisance of herself and wins it back. 4 in the attack now for Trinity. It was a pass intended for Ward, cut out. And Tegan Hansen brings it into the attack. She puts a hopeful ball into the channel where no one in maroon and black gives chase. Trinity eager to keep the ball rolling. Find the ball into the feet of the striker. She can't hold it up, but it comes back to Zingelman. Walsh with a sharp turn in midfield. Drops it off to Beal. Horner, two defenders converge on Madison Horner. She turns away from the pressure. Back to Zingelman, the left center back of the three. Sheridan split a couple of lines there, looking for Madison Horner. Didn't have the pace to eventually reach the right midfielder. Stafford seems to have that step on her defender every time she gets the ball. Horner again involved at the halfway line. Wickham slots it through for Ward. Ward drops the shoulder one way, goes the other. Finds Beal, who receives it back from Katie Ward. Now Cameron Beal enters the area, gets a left-footed cross away to the foot of Molly Sheridan. The flag goes up, and eventually our center official, John Villalobos, spots it, and it brings the play to a halt. Horner forward to Ward. Stops the ball dead with her first touch. Draws the attentions of three defenders and puts it down the line for Madison Horner, who keeps it in play. Horner on the dribble. Low left-footed service is cleared away. Pearson can't get past Shepard, but wins the throw. Pearson with Horner on her back. And looks like the ball went out of play for a Trinity throw. Walsh wants to go quickly. They go over her head, looking for Ward, who takes it on the forehead, drops it back to Stafford, down the line for Horner. Service across the top of the box, finds Sheridan, but she can't bring it under control. And the Warhawks send it down the field. It's a good run from Pearson. They're coming across to cover Ashlyn Zingelman. Was the 2020 district MVP at Brandeis High School in 2020 before she went up to Denton to play for the Mean Green. Rutherford takes contact from behind from Kira Stafford and wins the free kick. Four shots, two on target for Trinity thus far. No shots at the moment for the War Eagles in this game. Chance maybe to change that here from the free kick. Mariah Sakura stands over it. A bit far out for a shot on goal. They wouldn't rule it out. She does go for goal. Joey Finley, that full stretch, made sure it wasn't going to dip under the crossbar. On a bad effort from Sakura. That'll be the first shot of the game for McMurry. Quarter of the way through this game, you expect maybe a hydration break coming, but Sheridan looking to add to the lead prior. Her first touch, though, it's all the way through for Cortland Boone. And there is the hydration break signaled by John Villalobos. So we'll pause momentarily as both teams take on some fluids and get in the shade for a moment. As it stands, 1-0 to Trinity. Molly Sheridan on the score sheet, assisted by Alex Walsh. Be right back in just a moment. You're watching Trinity Women's Soccer on the Tiger Network. First change for Coach Valdespino and Trinity as Taylor Campbell, the first year out of Edinburgh, Texas, replaces Madison Horner on the right. McKenna Standifer entered the game for McMurry at the water break. Throw over the head of Campbell. Taken down by Sheridan, but out for a throw from McMurray. Looking for Rutherford. Flicks it off her head. Meyer came across to deal with it. Stafford to Campbell. Back to Meyer. Cross for Zingelman. Katie Ward with the loose first touch, but Zingelman cleans it up for her teammate. And Hendricks finds some space in midfield. Sheridan to Walsh. She brings it under her spell with just one touch. Now wide for Campbell. 3 in the area for Trinity. It's put across and repelled at the near post by McMurray. And into the channel. It's a foot race going the other way. Pearson beats Meyer to the ball, but there's 3 back for Trinity on defense. No one in support at the moment in maroon and black. Pearson darting across the box, but lacked conviction in her shot. Probably ran out of steam as well. She made a huge sprint to get to the ball in the first place. Meyer wanted to find the ball to Campbell. We're on the same page. Our first game playing together. Beal keeps that one in play. Sends it down the line for Ward. Miscue on the clearance from Boyer. And it's in the hands of Taylor Campbell. To the feet of Walsh. Stafford put under pressure by Rutherford. Campbell came infield and found Cameron Beal. Good ball to spray the play wide for Wickham, who tried to go with one touch across for Sheridan. And the Warhawks had no trouble on that occasion putting it out for a throw. A lot of change this year for Coach Nobles and the Warhawks. They graduated 9 seniors after the shortened COVID year last year. And you mentioned, between the first-year players and the sophomores who didn't have a proper preseason last year, only 10 of their players had ever been through a college preseason, so there was certainly an adjustment period for the Warhawks. And he said they channeled that into a real emphasis on getting to know each other, forming real, genuine connections. Their team slogan being love first. So a lot of change, and yet Coach Noble's doing the best he can to preserve the team culture and even strengthen it with the new group of players. Certainly being put through their paces here early in the season by Trinity. As Campbell comes in field, takes a shot on her left foot, sails over the bar, and a couple more changes on the way for the Warhawks, excuse me. Kylie Smith and Haley Ray, both in the game for the first time. They'll replace Ashlyn Hansen and Emily Holland. Kylie Smith, just on the field, is going to try and track this down. Bailey Meyer beats her to it. Goes back to Finley, the goalkeeper. Wickham looks to turn. He's got a couple defenders around. Keeps possession with Beal. Now Hendricks can get her head up and put it in behind. Taylor Campbell streaking down the right wing. Important intervention there from Boyer. Puts it out for a Trinity throw. And the Tigers will make another change. Abby Schneider enter on the left mid position for Elena Wickham. Those outside midfield roles demand a lot in terms of the fitness of the player. So I think that's why we've seen both Horner and Wickham brought back to the bench to get water. Two first-year players getting a chance on the outside. Campbell on the right and Schneider on the left. Another one coming from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Looks like we'll need a new ball here before we get play going again. Holland gets it back and it deflects off Trinity for another Warhawk throw. McMurry just keeping possession here in their defensive half, but immediately Pearson runs into the brick wall that is Cameron Beal, and Sheridan wins a corner at the other end. And the Trinity bench urging their team forward here to try and double the lead with 15 minutes and counting down remaining in the first half. 4 subs checking in at the moment for McMurray. As Schneider comes across to take.
Kylie, you should be in the box.
Going to be an out-swinging delivery. It's low towards the top of the box where Beal was closest to it. Schneider now on the dribble. Heading back to her nominal position on the left midfield. At the moment, it's Katie Ward who's operating on the wing. Steps past a couple defenders, but forced back to Hendricks. Campbell. Back to Stafford. Hendricks is getting a bit congested in midfield, but Ward turns away and rips a shot. Stafford does likewise. Meyer tracks down the loose ball. Good work from Campbell there. Regains possession for Maroon and White. Now Zingelman on a foray into midfield. Her pass blocked, but she's got the requisite pace to get back. It's wide now for Schneider. Down the line for Sheridan. Cannon's off. A McMurray player out for a Trinity throw. Sheridan looking to turn at the top of the box. Ward finds the loose ball. Turns towards her left side. Gets past one defender, puts the ball in. Blocked before it could reach the danger area, but it's put out for a corner. Schneider again to take. This one will be an in-swinging service from the far side. Again, not a ton underneath it. And it's sent clear. Both teams now preparing changes. 12 minutes and counting remaining in the first half. Throw in to the chest of Walsh. She brings it down. It's sent down the line. And out for a goal kick, and now those changes will enter the game. Del Preti in for Sheridan. Michaela Bosco. Looks like she's headed up top as well for Katie Ward. Cassie Bowers into midfield for Walsh. And Meredith McAllister into the game for CC Hendricks. Those are your 4 changes for the home team.
Number 34, Cassie Bowers. Number 2, Meredith McAllister.
So midfield 3 of Cameron Beal, Meredith McAllister, and Cassie Bowers. Out there right now for Trinity. 4 first-year players and 1 transfer. And Ashlyn Zingelman. Bosco is applying the pressure that time. She's up front at the moment with Teddy Del Preti, who we saw last season score 5 goals, assists twice in 10 games. Brings a lot of speed, a lot of intensity off the bench for Trinity. This one dropped back to Stafford, who's got time to come into her favored left foot. Saw a pass for Bosco that maybe wasn't on. But tracks down the loose ball herself. Again, onto her left foot, thinks about a shot. Doesn't get much power behind it. I think it's testament to really the possession dominance that Trinity has so often, that you've got someone like Kira Stafford playing in the back line who's played further forward last season. And you've only got 3 defenders as well. Your outside midfielders are very much attacking players to start the game in Madison Horner and Elena Wickham. So I worked for so many years with Kristen Canepa in the back line, and Bailey Myers really stepped up to fill the shoes left behind by the former All-American. It's a good ball in towards the back post. Campbell can't keep it in play. And we'll see another change now for McMurry. Abby Barzik, first year out of Arlington, Texas, enters the game. And Brooke Boyer will head to the bench. Another first year playing from the start in her first collegiate game. Bowers wins the ball back straight from the goal kick. Del Preti battling for it. The Warhawks send it down the field, recovered by Schneider. Zingelman returns it to Schneider. It's good build-up play from Trinity down the left wing. Bowers, excuse me. Has her pass intercepted, and now it's a McMurry throw. As the crowd's starting to build, this is the Trinity doubleheader tonight with the men's team kicking off at 8. Sure we'll continue to see more fans throughout the second half of this game. Start to get excited for what the women are putting out on the field right now and what the men might offer later on tonight as they face off against Occidental College in a Tiger versus Tiger matchup. Earlier today here on Paul McGinley Field, we had Southwestern and Willamette on the men's side play a neutral game. Willamette took 2-1. A busy weekend here on Trinity's campus. Is got neutral games, Trinity men's games, Trinity women's game. 7 in total being played on Paul McGinley Field here on opening weekend. It'll be a real test for the groundskeepers. Saw them out treating the field in between today's earlier kickoff and this nighttime doubleheader, doing all they can to keep the field in good shape. One nothing to Trinity at the moment. Molly Sheridan opened the scoring off an assist from Alex Walsh prior to the water break. Trinity would love to double that lead if they can before the break. Del Preti a prime candidate to do so. She holds the ball up well there. Now it's put in behind for Campbell. Bosco couldn't hold her run. Flag goes up. And McMurry will make another change as Krista Thrasher, senior out of Aledo, come into the game for the first time. Looks like just offside for Bosco. Be another substitute that's withdrawing, Kylie Smith, who's listed as a defender on the roster but was leading the line for the 15 minutes or so she was out there. Singleman nearly gets it caught underneath her feet, but able to find Beal. Beal's pass a little loose, and it's cleared down the field by McMurry. An assured first touch from Meyer. And eventually out for a Trinity throw from some of those McMurry fans.
Let's go, Grace! Let's go, Grace!
Ball played wide here for Willie. She's into the area, but Meyer's across to come and deal with it. There's been a few moments down this left side, I think, as Stafford gets used to this new position. She's been caught in possession. Things to iron out, especially ahead of the big game against the Cowgirls of Hardin Simmons coming up on Sunday. Emma Everett's, there was an injury doubt for today's game, made it back to fitness in time. She's on the field here for the final 5 minutes, replacing Cameron Beal. So it's an all-changed midfield 5 now, actually front 7. The goalkeeper in back 3 still remaining the same from the start. Cross sent in. And immediately defensive work for Emma Everts to do. It's on the line now for Turner. Turner. Dumped to the turf by Abby Schneider. Last touch off Schneider and out for a throw. Meyer puts it out for another throw. Meyer here, 1v2, and she wins both tackles. And Trinity get it clear. Now some space for Del Preti to stretch her legs. Bosco wanted the ball in behind. Did she hold her run? The linesman's flag stays down. A chance now for Bosco. And it's in the back of the net. Great work on the counterattack from Teddy Del Preti, who assists Michaela Bosco in her first ever collegiate goal. And we'll see if she was able to hold her run. I think she wanted the ball here, and she slowed up just enough to where she was even with Standifer at the back post, and nothing the goalkeeper could do about that type of finish. Into the top corner, doubling Trinity's advantage here with 4 minutes to go till the break, and that'll be a real gut punch for the Warhawks, who had their best build-ups of the game in the last 5 minutes or so. Conversation right now between Coach Nobles and the Trinity coaching staff about the potential for offside there, and it was certainly a close one. I don't even think the angle that we had on the replay was necessarily conclusive. But either way, Trinity doubled their lead on Michaela Bosco's first Trinity goal. Stafford keeps that in play and drops it back to Meyer. Rolled across the back line for Zingelman. Wanted an entry ball into midfield, but Bowers couldn't bring it under control. We'll see if Bowers finally finds a home in that midfield. She's been played all over the field since arriving on campus. Junior midfielder out of Lafayette, Louisiana. Seen her lead the line. Seen her play at right back, just depending on what the team needed. I think we're going to see the first booking of the game, maybe. Everett's in conversation with Villalobos, and I think it might be just that, just a conversation. Barzik, the ball forward. McAllister comes away with it. The new Trinity number 2, taking that shirt from Lindsay Pang. She puts it in behind here for Bosco. Already has one. This time looks to set up Del Preti, who misses her kick. Still falls for McAllister at the top of the box. Wide now for Schneider. Schneider looks to force the cross as the shout comes from the Trinity bench just to recycle possession. And the exchange between Zingelman and Schneider produced an offside flag and bringing the attack to a halt. One player maybe you expect to see. Of course, don't know the potential of injury or anything of the sort, but we haven't seen Nia Shepard yet. She did dress. She was out there for the team walkout prior to the game. Might see her in the second half, potentially. Like I said, don't know the exact situation for the junior out of Deer Park, Texas, but you know, with the performances she's put on since the 2019 season, I think she'd have some part to play. Although Trinity yet to rotate any of their back three. And yet to really concede any threatening chances on Joey Finley's goal. McMurray sends it clear with 30 seconds remaining in the half. Schneider doesn't give up on this one. Keeps it in play near the corner flag with 15 seconds to go. Schneider blows past her defender with ease, but the cross is held by Cortland Boone, and that'll do it for the first half. Trinity opened their season's account in the 13th minute with a goal from Molly Sheridan, assisted by Alex Walsh. I'm sure we'll get a quick look at those replays before we head to break. Followed up by a 42nd minute goal from Michaela Bosco, assisted by Teddy Del Preti. And so far, so good for Coach Spencer Valdespino's head coaching debut. And we will get a look at the goals as you see Alex Walsh. Some terrific work on the dribble down the left wing. Puts it across, and maybe I underrated the finish from Molly Sheridan. A sneaky flick that just lifts it over the goalkeeper. And then, of course, the question of offside as Del Preti slips it through for Bosco. No question with the finish. That doubles the lead, and Trinity are firmly in front. Headed into the break. Be back with you in 15 minutes for the second 45. You're watching Trinity Women's Soccer on the Tiger Network. Welcome you back to Paul McGinley Field for the second 45 minutes of action here between Trinity University Women's Soccer and the McMurry Warhawks. We are underway with Trinity in front on the back of a Molly Sheridan goal, as well as Michaela Bosco, who doubled the lead in the 43rd minute. Just the one change for Coach Valdespino from the group that started the game, and you saw her there on the ball. It's Isabel Mikulski out there in place of Elena Wickham, who started on the left of the midfield five. Pass over hit, runs all the way through for a goal kick. So the senior midfield trio of Walsh, Hendricks, and Beal keep their place. And the front two of Katie Ward and Molly Sheridan will continue to threaten the goal of McMurry. Ward flicks that one on. Walsh looks to track it down. Eventually does latch on to the loose ball. Lofts it forward for Ward. Can't get there. And Hendricks beaten to it. Good hold-up play from Kylie Smith. She puts it down the line for Aguayo to chase. Last touch off maroon jersey. And Mikulski, the sophomore out of Houston, Texas. We'll leave this one for Zingelman. Continues to play on the left side of the back three. Mikulski forward for Sheridan. Hendricks coming out of the midfield, has her pass blocked. Throw in taken quickly, dropped off to Meyer across for Stafford. Walsh down the line, looking for the overlapping run of Horner. She can't quite keep it in play. And there'll be another goal kick. Looks like a change in between the sticks for the Warhawks. Priscilla Caruso is now in goal after 45 minutes from Cortland Boone. Just one save for Boone to make, and really nothing she could do about either goal. No shots for Joey Finley in the Trinity net. Few goal kicks here and there as Beal wins the coming together with Kylie Smith. The referee says unfairly, he blows a whistle for a foul. Horner turns to face the onrushing Warhawk. Got a tackle in, but the maroon and black maintain possession with Tegan Hansen. Allowed to come inside, a pocket of space for Caudle. Once again, Bailey Meyer comes across. Really able to cover just as much ground as you'd expect two center backs to cover, and I think that's part of what enables Trinity to deploy just three defenders. She can cover so much ground and always firm in a tackle. Bailey Meyer. Goal kick. Good defending that time from Zingelman. If you missed in the first half, a UNT transfer, a San Antonio native, coming home to play for Trinity this year. Left-footed defender. She launched that one forward off that left foot. Hendricks loses her footing. Ran into Kylie Smith, and Hendricks is up behind the play. No real flow of play so far in the 5 minutes following the second half getting underway. But a chance for Katie Ward maybe, sprung in behind by Molly Sheridan. Katie Ward inside the area. Steps past one defender, still tangled up though, and forced to go back. Horner lunging, taken away, and it's out for a Trinity throw on the far side as Katie Ward came to a stop there in the penalty area. I think I wasn't the only one just pausing, waiting to see what she could produce with the ball at her feet. I think with numbers that she was able to produce last year as first save of the game for Priscilla Caruso on a shot from distance from Stafford. I mentioned to Coach Harrison, she's got to be up there on the All-American watch list for those that keep track of such things. And, I asked Coach Harrison what makes Katie so special, and he mentioned that she came in as a right back, and she's now one of the 2 strikers for Trinity and putting up crazy offensive numbers. So just to see that development in terms of her attacking ability has been very impressive for Coach Harrison. He said she came in with an open mind and a desire to be the best player that she could become. He described her style of play as just watching Katie play with the ball glued to her foot until she's ready to strike it. And she continues to improve year on year. The Phoenix, Arizona native, 2 times USC All-Region first team, and was the SCAC Offensive Player of the Year last year with 13 goals and 4 assists in just 9 games. 4 game-winning goals to her name, and 8 in total across the illustrious career that she's produced so far. Throw-in sent down the line. Mikulski got a foot on it. The cross was whipped in, and Beal stopped it before it can cause any real danger to Trinity's goal. Loose touch from Mikulski. Turns possession back over. In terms of players that Trinity are looking to replace this year, they graduated Lindsay Peng, the outside back who put in 4 terrific years of service to the program. And she was actually awarded a postgraduate scholarship as well, continuing success in the classroom as well as on the field for Lindsay Peng. Her number 2 shirt we saw in action in the first half. Worn by Meredith McAllister now, the first year out of Norman, Oklahoma. Stafford ahead to Walsh. Pass back to Meyer, who looks to split the midfield with a pass, but it's intercepted. And it's put in behind. It's going to be a foot race, one that Zingelman will have no problem with, especially with a 5-yard head start. Hansen was the one giving chase for McMurray. Stafford tried to bring it onto her left foot again. Had it poked away, but Trinity keep possession. Hendricks down the line for Sheridan. She'll have the pace to keep it in play. And Ward has a pocket of space. A give and go back to Molly Sheridan. Walsh and Beal crash into the area, and it arrives to Katie Ward at the top of the box. 3 defenders around her. And eventually she's wrestled to the turf. Hendricks will have a pop from distance. But it bounces before it reaches Priscilla Caruso. Another comfortable save for the sophomore goalkeeper. A rare occasion in which Beal misjudged a ball in midfield. It bounced over her head, but Meyer dropped it back to Finley, and Trinity will now again look to build out of possession. Zingelman just misses the ball forward for Sheridan. And Trinity just looking to make McMurray work here, switching the point of attack. Meyer given time to look up. Picks a pass out wide. And here's Katie Ward now. Looks for an incisive ball to Sheridan. Walsh picked up the pieces. And Beal did likewise when Walsh lost possession. Now Hendricks might think about another shot from distance. This time goes wide. Horner, space to get the cross in. It's a low ball across the 6-yard box. Nobody making the run across the near post. Plenty more to do for Priscilla Caruso compared to Cortland Boone, who had the first 45 minutes. And didn't get a ton of action outside of picking the ball up out of the net twice. Just one save for Boone.
April, step, April. That's you, Kylie. That's you, Kylie.
Walsh tries to exchange it with Zingelman.
Hey, go Tegan. Tegan, be an option. Go,
Ball sent down the line.
you gotta get up now.
Gabriel Aguayo will chase, but Mikulski, again with a big head start, gets there first. Meyer just got her signals crossed on that pass. We are 12 minutes here into the second half of action. Trinity leading 2-0 on a couple of first half goals. The first from Molly Sheridan, second from Michaela Bosco. As the Tiger fans continue to file in. It's the first half of the opening weekend doubleheader. Trinity men's soccer slated for the 8 o'clock kickoff tonight, facing off against Occidental College. And they'll be looking to follow up what's so far been a strong performance to start the year for TU women's soccer. Hendricks tries to cut inside the defender. It's momentarily held up. Mikulski's got space down the left. Slows down to a halt. Step over, blows past the defender. Mikulski towards the back post where Cameron Beal try and track it down. She can't. It's just wrong side of the line. Good display, though, of Mikulski on the dribble. Haven't seen a ton of her just yet. And looks like an injury concern, maybe. Or no, just tying the shoe for Alex Walsh. 4 changes on the way for McMurry. Slice clearance, and Mikulski's on it. Down the line for Sheridan. Flag stays down across the way. Sheridan cuts back onto her favored right foot. Looked to find the ball to Katie Ward. Just cut out on the way through. Beal bounces it back to Bailey Meyer. And Stafford goes infield for Walsh. Beal just let that one run away. And Kylie Smith was able to come up behind and steal it. And now McMurry with slow possession in their own half. Madison Horner makes sure it stays there, putting it out for a throw on the far side. Now the subs will enter the game. Grace Singleton, Michaela Pearson, Jenna Burrow, and Brooke Boyer, 3 of which started the game. And will re-enter here with 32 minutes and counting down. Opening game of the season for both teams. Next up for McMurry will be St. Thomas at home on Sunday at noon. And Trinity, of course, in a marquee matchup of the weekend, will face off against Hardin Simmons, their perennial West Region rival, Sunday at 6 p.m. local time. We'll have that one for you right here on the Tiger Network. Trinity taking both games against Hardin Simmons in 2019, the regular season and the NCAA tournament matchup. That was a change from recent history where Hardin Simmons Certainly gave Trinity all kinds of problems in the second or third round of the NCAA tournament. So it should be a fun one as the Tigers and the Cowgirls face off here at Paul McGinley Field on Sunday. Walsh. Time to get her head up and find Sheridan. Ward just has to hold the run. I think the flag would have gone up had it made its way through to the Arizona native. Jenna Burrow takes the throw, but it goes right to Mikulski. Into midfield for Beal. Wide for Horner, who opens it up with the first touch, but Rutherford tracks it down. Good energy from the McMurry number 5. Too much energy. Shown there by Hansen, who commits the foul against Beal. "12 shots, 5 on target for Trinity so far. A couple of tame efforts here in the second half. That's all they have to show for their attacking efforts. 2 goals coming in the opening frame. So far, so good for Priscilla Caruso, the substitute goalkeeper. Now it's Hendricks getting a talking to from John Villalobos. Meyer meets the long ball forward. Good header clear. Ward finds a pocket of space. And Horner to her right. It's poked through looking for Sheridan. And Beal all kinds of time. She's got the lay of the land here in midfield. Goes left for Hendricks. Those two have made up the engine room for Trinity now, going on 4 years. They were immediate impact players, if not starters, in their first year on campus as Hendricks lifts this one in behind for Ward. Onto her favored right foot. Just leaned back a little too much on that one, Katie Ward. And she'll have to wait to get her opening goal of 2021. See this good move from Katie Ward to step past the defender. You also see how she leans back on the shot, and that just sends it over the top. Ashley Ubel, Emily Holland, and Kara Moore, the 3 substitutes into the game for the Warhawks. Looks like a swap out of the front line as Kylie Smith and Hallie Rutherford head to the bench. Good ball down the line from Zingelman. Kept in play and put across by Sibel Mikulski. Be out for a Trinity throw in front of the McMurry bench. Here's Walsh again down the left wing where she caused the danger in the first half. Again, she puts it across, this time cut out. The War Eagles alert to the threat posed by Walsh down the left wing. Stafford out wide for Horner. Stafford looks for the give and go. And she's in the right place to track down a loose ball. Now falls for Beal. Into the feet of Ward, who tries to turn. Has it taken away. And The Warhawks send it clear. 2 changes on the way for Trinity. It's like Emily Hayes for the first time. And Maya Ozimi as well. Looks like Ozimi in for Walsh. McAllister in for Hendricks. And Hayes in for Mikulski. So a midfield 3 of Ozimi, McAllister, and Beal. Beal continues to play the most of the midfield 3. Really important, if only just to provide that experience alongside a couple of younger players now. And of course, always the relentless work ethic. Horner is fouled. And it'll be a Trinity free kick. We're a couple of minutes away from the hydration break. And Coach Nobles and McMurray have to be relatively happy with what they've seen here to start the second half. Of course, the fact that no more goals have gone in, but also have looked decent at times, going the other way, and really limited one of the nation's top offenses at the Division III level to just a couple of speculative shots from distance. We'll see if that can change here. Sent towards the back post, and it's kept alive and punched away at the second time of asking by Caruso. McAllister was closest to it. Ozimi as well, the other substitute. Causing problems. Caruso stretching out in the 5'5" frame to put it out for a corner. That corner sent to the top of the box and tracked down by McAllister. Wide for Katie Ward. Katie Ward lifts it into the box for Sheridan, takes it on the chest. The volley's blocked. Ozimi wide for Ward. Too much on the pass, and it's behind for a goal kick.
Substitution for McMurray. Number 26, Abby Barzak.
Abby Barzak, the first year out of Arlington, comes into the game for Kate Holland. We are moments away from that water break. To cool down as the sun has begun to set here in San Antonio. I think still above the threshold for the teams to take a quick breather. Maybe not before Trinity can find a third. It's put wide for Hayes. Hayes with a diagonal ball looking to switch the play. McMurray send it down the line. Singleton puts it wide for Pearson. Dropped off for Burrow. Dangerous ball across the midfield. It's intercepted by Beal. Horner will work to keep this in play down the right wing. Comes in onto her left foot, puts a low ball across. It arrives at the feet of Ozimi. Her shot is palmed wide. Good moment for Maya Ozimi, the first year out of Coppell, Texas. And before this corner kick, looks like a couple subs coming into the game. You see Ozimi holding the defender off on her back. Able to turn just enough to get the shot away as she's falling down. And Caruso makes another save. This is the most difficult of the bunch so far for the Tomball, Texas native in goal. And looks like that same swap out in the front line that we saw in the first half as Sheridan and Ward will depart for Del Preti and Bosco. Corner taken, bounces before it arrives in the area. And Zingelman swings her off foot at it and puts it harmlessly beyond the goal. We will take the water break now with under 21 minutes to play. Trinity still in control, although yet to add to the lead here in the second half. We'll look for that when we come back. You're watching Trinity Women's Soccer on the Tiger Network. Be a goal kick here to get things back underway. Just under 21 minutes to go.
Emily Page.
Look to see if there's any changes for Trinity. Looks the same as the team that left the field. Although actually technically did not leave the field. Not allowed to leave. Water has to be brought to you for the water break. Del Preti flicks it on. Ozimi now, space in the box if she can get the shot away. A good work from Priscilla Caruso. Quick off her line to come and claim. Good work again from Del Preti. Or excuse me, that was Del Preti who put it across. Looking for her second assist of the game. Beal in a battle in midfield with Holland, which she wins. Only for the moment, though, as McMurray come away with the ball. Stafford wins the ball and launches herself into another tackle. She won the ball and won a throw. Beal wide for Zingelman. Zingelman down the line. Bosco made the run, excuse me. A lot of new names to juggle here.
Substitutions for McMurray. Entering the game, number 10, Jenna Barrow. Number 21, Ashland Hansen.
Jenna Barrow and Ashland Hansen are the two changes for McMurray. They'll replace Ubel and Standiffer. McMurray keep that one in play to their own detriment as it's turned over to Bosco. McAllister, shot from distance on target, but again bounces prior to Priscilla Caruso's goal. She holds it comfortably. 8th shot on target for Trinity.
Come on! Emily, now you're higher. Now you work together. Yes, Emily, it's a miracle.
McAllister back to Stafford. Finds Del Preti. Bosco goes beyond. And Bosco called for a foul. The linesman on the far side signaling for it. Stafford wins the first header. Zingelman sends it clear of the Trinity half. Ozimi pressing from the front, now puts it wide for Del Preti. 3 to her left. Del Preti takes the shot towards the near post. Might have been better served putting that one across, but either way she gets it on target, and Caruso comes up with another big save. Got the assist earlier, looking to go for goal this time. Wins her side a corner. Corner sent into the danger area. A couple Trinity players end up on the ground after leaping to try and meet it. Horner tracks it down. Back to Meyer. Meyer just waited for the space to finally open up for Emily Hayes, and it did. She goes infield for Beal. So we're about to see a Trinity debut. in just a moment for Lauren Lewis. Horner puts a threatening ball across, but found its way behind for a goal kick, and those changes will come now. Bella Ferruzzi
Substitution for the Tigers.
into the game for the first time.
Number 26, Bella Ferrucci.
She'll replace Cameron Beal, and it looks like Joey Finley's game
Number 31,
is done. She's not forced into making any saves. A few moments with the ball at her feet. But it'll be a chance for Lauren Lewis off the bench for the first time in Trinity colors. First-year goalkeeper out of Carrollton, Texas, stands at 5'8", and it's really the first time in quite a while we've seen Trinity carry 3 goalkeepers. There was a point where it was just Paige Wallace, and that's when Lauren Bolish was brought in to have a backup option. Bolish now a senior with the team. Looks like she might have to wait potentially for Sunday to make her season debut. As this one ends up as a shot from distance for Zingelman, off target. And 5 changes on the way for McMurray with 15 minutes to go.
Number 9. Number 23, Brooke Boyer.
A lot of positivity on the McMurray bench from head coach Charles Nobles. It's 24, 35-8 since taking over in 2019. A couple of seasons as the assistant before that. He's brought in a class of first-year players across, he told me, all positions except goalkeeper. He's got 10, and they can pretty much field an entire team of just the first-year players. So he's excited to see the depth that they can provide, the energy and the intensity that they brought from the start and off the bench today. Bosco goes back to McAllister. It's going to be Reese Wallace for Trinity. Madison Horner coming off. Wallace, another one that picked up an injury and wasn't cleared until recently. Wasn't sure she was going to be ready for today's game. Looks like she's ready to slot right back into the back line and push Stafford into the right midfield. Ozemi holds it up, drops it off for Zingelman. It's launched in behind for Del Preti, who will always give chase, but it's the opposite number 23, Brooke Boyer, who's able to clear that time. And we've seen Stafford wanting to go forward all game. Now she's going to have license to do so as the right midfielder. Hayes drops the shoulder twice. Finds the ball for McAllister. McAllister wide for Wallace, coming forward out of the back line. Reese Wallace just on the field. Puts it down the line for Stafford. Stafford puts it across the top of the box, where Bosco can control it. McAllister senses the pressure and turns back for Bailey Meyer. Wallace into the channel. Bosco putting the pressure on Jenna Barreau here and winning a throw for her team. Coach Valdespino going to make another change here, as Ashlyn Zingelman will come to the bench. Solid 79 minutes of action in her Trinity debut. Certainly some promising signs. A left-footed defender of Division I caliber coming from the University of North Texas. And Taylor Campbell replaces her, moving Kira Stafford back into the back line. And Reese Wallace and Bailey Meyer look to preserve the clean sheet here for Trinity with 11 minutes to go. Immediately looking to make an impact. Shot comes in from Campbell.
On a great clearance, get out.
Off target. It's been a good showing in the second half from Priscilla Caruso, the goalkeeper. She lines up this goal kick. 5 saves in 35 minutes of action so far. Stafford now operating on the left side of the back three on her favored left foot. On the ball forward for Hayes. Puts it across for McAllister. Wide again for Wallace. Wallace in behind for Del Preti to chase, and she just gets there. Putting it wide now for Campbell. Campbell puts a cross in, but it bent out over the end line before coming back into play. Be a goal kick. Wallace sees that one out of bounds. Takes the throw in quickly, going into Meyer. Stafford, given time and space, gets her head up, finds the ball into the feet of Michaela Bosco. Scored her first Trinity goal in the first half. And as it stands, it's Molly Sheridan who has the winning goal in the 14th minute. At the moment, it doesn't look like McMurray offering much to try and change that.
Take it in. Never mind. Get up.
Meyer, the ball forward for Campbell. First touch popped up on her, but she tracked it down. Dribbled past one and puts it down the line for Hayes. Caruso comes off her line to claim.
Ashley, find the ball, Ashley. Play the ball.
Hanson, instructed by Coach Nobles to find the ball. She does so. Give and go exchange is eventually sent down the line by Kate Holland. Too much on it for the senior. And no chance for Rutherford to track it down. Last touch out off McMurray. McAllister takes the throw quickly for Reese Wallace. Ferruzzi turns, finds Stafford. Stafford down the line for Hayes. Bosco just to her right. Look to exchange a pass with the striker. Comes back to Hayes. Bosco puts it around the corner for Stafford coming on the overlap. Stafford gets there, takes the bump, stays on her feet and finds the ball back for Hayes. Hayes rolls it across the top of the box for McAllister. Slip on the ball, but Meredith McAllister just keeps possession, drops it off for Wallace. Wide for Campbell. A lot of young players seeing some good minutes here in the first half, or excuse me, in the first game of 2021. Second shot of the game for Campbell. Again, it goes wide. Loose ball controlled by Maya Ozimi. Forward to Del Preti. Loose ball controlled by McAllister. Wallace puts it down the line. Her second try to get it to Campbell is cleared away. And McMurray stepped 10 yards or so up the field. Meyer looks off a couple defenders who are looking to press, but her eventual effort is picked off by Mariah Sakura. It's Maya Ozemi who wins it back for Trinity. And a first touch of the ball for Lauren Lewis. Completes a simple 20-yard pass forward. That's about as much as the Trinity goalkeepers have had to do here, particularly in the second half. Bosco down the wing, ball across. Hayes is at the back post. Emily Hayes, and it's 3. Right place, right time for Emily Hayes to pounce on a miscue at the back. The assist will go to Michaela Bosco, who's now got a helper to go with her goal earlier in this game, and Trinity put it beyond doubt with this third one here. You see Bosco squares up the defender, puts a good ball in, takes one deflection, and actually comes off the hand of Hansen before Hayes comfortably puts it past the goalkeeper for Trinity's third of the match. Lauren Lewis gets the ball back to her feet there and sends it out into touch. And we'll see another change as Jalen Portillo comes out for Krista Thrasher. Hansen just swings a left foot at that one and puts it out of play. Senior right back from Wichita Falls, just one of the captains of McMurray. He was third team All ASC in 2021. Now up to 39 games played in her career so far. It's game number 1 for Michaela Bosco. She's already got a goal and assist. Looking to add to it here. She's forward down the right side. Bosco cuts back onto her left foot, ball across, it's cut out. Trinity not giving up on this play though, as McAllister goes flying into a tackle. Here, look at the goal, you see the handball and the finish from Emily Hayes, sophomore out of Allen, Texas. Just made one appearance last year. She started in the opener against Austin College. Off to a good start here in season number 2 for Trinity's number 9. Ball in the hands of Taylor Campbell on the far side. And Maya Ozemi holds it up. Top of the box for Ferruzzi. Caruso holds it. And we're under 3 minutes to go. That's the 10th shot on target for Trinity. 6 of those here in the second half. One of their 3 goals coming just moments ago. The other 2 in the opening frame. See some of the Occidental and Trinity men's players starting to make their way around the field. Looks like Occidental near that tent in the far right of your picture. They'll be facing off a little bit after 8. We're already almost to 8 o'clock here. So you imagine it'll be closer to an 8:30 kickoff as Trinity men's soccer will kick their season off. Look to follow up a strong performance here from the women. He's not happy with the call from John Villalobos. Hansen with a good ball in behind. Rutherford will chase, but Meyer pushed to the ground. Maybe a little bit needlessly, born out of frustration for Rutherford. You see a look of confusion perplexity on her face. It'll be a goal kick coming up for Lauren Lewis. Hayes to Stafford coming forward down the line. She can't keep it in play. And here comes the 1 minute call.
1 minute. 1 minute remaining.
And this will be the final 50 or so seconds of the season opener, which Trinity has controlled from start to finish, as most would expect. McMurry, an up-and-coming program, but not quite ready to challenge at the level that Trinity has shown across the past decade, really. Here's a chance for Bosco to seal it. She put it across, looking for Del Preti. It's cut out. Ozemi wins a big header in midfield. This is a good run from Sikora. Skip past McAllister and put one in behind for Rutherford. Might there be a consolation goal in this from McMurry in the closing seconds? It's wide for Rutherford, who got back on side. She won't be able to track down a heavy touch, and that should do it.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So a winning start to life here in 2021 for Trinity Tigers, even without their head coach Dylan Harrison on the sidelines.
Trinity 3, McMurry 0.
Goals coming in the first half from Molly Sheridan, assisted by Alex Walsh, and Michaela Bosco, assisted by Teddy Del Preti. The final goal coming in the second half from Emily Hayes, assisted by Michaela Bosco, who really impressed on her Trinity debut. We'll get a quick look back at the goals. See Hendricks wide for Walsh. Past their defender, gets to the inline, and an expert finish from Molly Sheridan, who knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. And hugs all around for the Trinity Tigers. So look back at volleyball, who won in straight sets earlier today. And we look at some of the Occidental men's players taking the field. That one set to kick off in just about 15-30 minutes. Stay tuned on the Tiger Network for that one. For now, my name is Ryan Figure. It's been a pleasure to describe the action here in the Trinity Women's Soccer season opener, which they take 3-0. Stick around for the men's game in just a moment.